So this one's going to be a little more lighthearted. This is part two of the same question, but now in reverse. Has anyone ever asked you to shut up? Yeah, right? Hopefully, if you were lucky, you've had some people say this for you in a good way, not to actually shut you up, but to get you to engage in maybe some guided introspection of some of the things that you are saying. That's a tough thing to do lovingly, especially when we have so very little time and patience that sometimes there are people that irk us with the amount of talking that they do. But when that same thing is applied back to us, it really sucks. It's a very painful thing to be shut down in any capacity. You're not important, you're in my way. I mean, that is the feeling when we are shut down, whether it's verbally or just indiscriminately get somebody out of the way so that somebody else can move forward. It can be a very painful experience. I started off saying this is lighthearted because the part two part of this last story that I was sharing in the last episode, I'm gonna show that now. It's good-hearted because the same guy that I'm talking about in the band, they did quite a good thing for me in getting me to think through some of the ways in which I communicated. Speaking, and so now all of a sudden that this guy ripped that can off, whoop ass came out right afterwards, and I just kept whooping ass, my own included, because people were like, okay, that's a lot, that's too much information, like overload, please slow down. So silent to stick notes to verbose, then to volumes of verbosity with this cat. As I communicated with the band afterwards when we were planning things and trying to set up events and go to venues and go to X Factor and all this stuff, the amount of text messages, because this was back in the day where we actually did a lot more texting than social media or calls or anything, but texting wasn't as advanced as it is now, where you send a message and it has audio, or it has a long text and it keeps it all together in one capsule and you can read it all together. No, if you sent a long text, it would split it up to make sure that all of them got sent. And that happened often with these cats. So imagine 4 band members getting one text message from me, but it's split up into 20 parts, and they're all arriving out of order, and they're having to piece these things together to understand what to do. And they got to the point where like, God, dude, call us or text one things, please. The velocity and the volume of your verbosity is getting out of control. And now, this guy is once again helping me with my voice, but he's telling me to slow down. I find that ironic. I mean, this guy taught me to speak up first, then to shut up, and then to speak less and slower, but still speak. I like when you speak, just slow down. Yeah, they helped me become a better communicator, for sure. And that is something that I strive for all of us, to continue getting better at communicating. So I invite you to speak up, to engage in guided introspection for others as well. And the way that we're going to be able to do that is by asking awesome questions. The judgments, those are to be had in the minds of the people that are being asked the questions. We don't know each other, not yet, but even as we start to get to know each other, we got to be honest about the fact that we don't know ourselves. I mean, not entirely. How many times do you learn something new about yourself? Things that you thought you either got over, or you surprise yourself in your abilities to do something new that you finally got the courage to try. So it's given the fact that we can't ever know ourselves 100%, how foolish is it for us to try to pretend that we can know the answer for someone else, right? I mean, if we're starting from that premise, if what I'm saying is full of BS, then everything I just said is full of BS. But if we can at least agree on the premise that we won't ever know our own selves 100%, then if that's true, it doesn't make sense to offer up constant answers to the rest of the world who is trying to figure themselves out. The best we can do is ask questions. Give them the respect that they deserve, in the fact that we do know the answers for our lives, but we need each other to tease those answers out. So, and then once those answers start coming out, when they become a little too much or too verbose or too crazy, like in the previous story that I just shared with you, have the grace and the patience to continue with a guided introspection that just lovingly asks more questions about the way in which we're communicating, and then let the individuals that are giving the answers learn to tailor and throttle their message based on reading the room, based on reading the current experience, what's needed, what's currently not. When is it time to speak? When is it time to shut up?